Settle down.
I did the maroon gold for Trevor. Alright guys, I want to start with saying, I remember when I was sitting where all you guys are in your chairs, mostly the younger kids. And for 4 years, I can recall, I would come over here, I'd sit in these chairs, and I'd listen to all the speeches, and I'd be like, wow, these speeches are trash. I would go home after every banquet, and I'd go and take a shower, and I'd just like sit there and I'd like think, I'd be like, I'm gonna write the best speech that anyone's ever heard. And I didn't do it. I didn't do that. But I don't really know why I was so caught up with the end of all this. Like I would go to the banquet, and I would just think like, once it's my turn, like it's gonna be over, and I'm gonna give my speech, and then it's gonna be over. But nobody ever really listens to speeches anyways. And for some reason, I always felt like this would be sort of like my final moment, where I pass on the torch to the next generation musicians. So I guess this is where I give you the old cliche, and it's all about the journey and not the destination. So here I am, and I want to tell you my story about the Trevor Marching Band. So some of you might already know this, but I actually moved into Charlton from Auburn in 8th grade. And Connor Montville was pretty much the only kid that I knew because we played AAU basketball together. And it was a bit awkward for me to like assimilate to the new environment of the new school and a new school district. And I remember on the first day of school, I walked right up to Mr. Flynn, who was the band director at CMS, and I told him that I wanted to join the marching band. And I was very surprised when he told me that they started practicing in May. And in my head, I was like, how could these kids play the same thing for 4 months straight? But here I am, and we just played the same thing for 6 months straight. But lo and behold, they were able to pull some strings, and I got myself a slot with a lot of synth parts for my 8th grade year. And I hated every second of it. I went home every night, and I would cry. And I would tell my mom, I'd be like, Mom, I'm quitting. I remember I broke a patch cord. I remember I told Dee I was going to pay her for it. I remember I got a part cut on the synth, and I never knew why. And my mom just would not let me quit. And I want to take a second and thank my mom for not letting me quit. Anyways, but my freshman year rolled around, and I got my first taste of the full year of marching band experience. I remember one strange rehearsal when I got pulled into Mr. McCougar's office with Albie, and they asked me to be a section leader. I remember meeting Logan, I don't know Logan Glenn. I remember the first time I met him, and I complimented his shoes, because we had the same shoes on, and he thought I was a senior, and he like pooped his pants. And I also remember my freshman year, I experienced basically the worst weekend of my life at a Spartans camp that I was completely unprepared for. That was not a fun experience. And I had to play the marimba with Austin, which if you guys have ever met Austin, he's about this tall, and the marimba was like this on freshman Trevor, and it was not fun. But by the time I reached my sophomore year, my musical abilities were pretty much getting better by the hour, and I stayed after practice like every single day. I'd be in the band room. I never went home with the actual bus. I would always take the late bus. And I pretty much poured every ounce of my free time and mental capacity into being the best musician I possibly could. So I auditioned to the Jersey Surf Drum Corps that year, and I knocked the marimba slot under Tom Wilson's guidance, which I didn't see Tom here, but that's the same Tom Wilson who I can definitively say is the only person I've ever met in my life who's been able to push me more than I push myself. So I want to take a moment to take Tom for that. And Tom, you're not really here, but I wrote one of my MIT essays about how you used to bombard me with commentary on my tense disposition. So I feel pretty relaxed right now, but I don't know how that looks to you guys. I was pretty crushed with the pandemic season. The pandemic shut down the competition season for Drum Corps, and I kind of got washed away. But as time passed, I came to realize that was really my own fault. Because like everything kind of shut down, I couldn't really focus on music as much, and I started to focus on other things. And I started to notice improvements in my time management, my leadership, my communication skills. No. And I grew through a strange junior year that was more of a blur than anything. And I began to apply the skills I gathered through my musical leadership pursuits with this band into the world around me. So I joined the track team. I forced myself to augment my social cliques. Through a service project with the National Honor Society, I made friends with a group of popular seniors who became some of my closest friends. I went to the Massachusetts Boys State Conference, and I started to make conversation with total strangers for the first time in my life. And as my senior year began, I expanded my extracurricular pursuits beyond band, beyond playing music, beyond playing JV basketball. I started to do things in the world around me. I'm making use of all the skills I've developed here and elsewhere to try and spark some change in the world. So I found myself working in just about every area of what Shepherd Hill does, with pretty much every single club, sport, and extracurricular activity that we offer. And during my final marching band season, I established myself as a student section liaison, and I used the cowbell and my social presence to hype up the crowd with the home football games with Josh. So I just want you guys to realize, especially a lot of you younger kids in the band, that we're all here for music, but at the end of the day, it's not about music. Obviously, it's fun to come here and play songs with your friends, otherwise I wouldn't have afforded 5 years of my life. Otherwise, I've been 4 or 5 years of my life in this organization, but the skills that you guys have developed here are going to find more applications than you're ever going to imagine. Because there really aren't that many people out there who can take one thing, 1 3-second chunk, and play it 100 times in a row and try and make each individual piece a little bit better than the whole. And that ability is going to drive each and every one of you to real success in the real world. So I just want to say that this program is something truly special, and these towering trophies that are in the band room are really only the tip of the iceberg, because the memories I've gathered here are going to last for the rest of my life. So I want to say Mr. Flynn, D, Tom Wilson, Mr. McCouga, who put up with so much nonsense in percussion class, Max, Sam Gallon, Joey, Jake, who I smoked in basketball after rehearsal more times than I could count, Mr. Sampson, those random pit techs who pop in and out here and there, Steve Labs, who once gave me a highly detailed explanation of the weird crap he's found in Shepherd Hill toilets, all the other janitors, the bus drivers, my dad and mom, Gavin, Hudson, Carson, and every kid I've marched with here, thank you for making me the person I am.